welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, once again I have Doc Larson here because we have horrible things that need to be turned OD green. I have these pouches here in FOBBITFLAGE. I got a pack of 4 of them from Sportsman's Guide, and I think I paid under $10. Matter of fact, I think on the orders, shipping and handling cost me more than the dang product. But they, as I said, are in FOBBITFLAGE. This is unacceptable on any level, in any place. So we're going to see if we can make these into usable OD green pouches. Doc, let's go get this done.
All right, let's do it. All right, so as Les likes to call it, we have some FOBBITFLAGE here. This, you know, the infamous your grandmother's sofa camouflage that turned out to be, surprised everybody, and worked really, really well in quarries, particularly gravel rock making quarries. Other than that, it was pretty much useless. It looked space age, which is why our fearless military leaders grabbed it and said, man, that really looks like Buck Rogers. Let's put all of our soldiers in Buck Rogers uniforms. And super stupid. And this one is going to be interesting. So we've got our standard dye here. We've got it nice and heated up. I think we got it at the right temperature. I will remind you that it is 4 parts Kelly green. Excuse me. It is 2 parts sunshine orange. It is 1 part dark green, and we're going to use this. We've had success with this on the past, going from a coyote from coyote colored materials as well as UCP. So we're going to do that again. But I think this one also gives us a couple of other challenges. This is worn, as most UCP is now, right? You go into the surplus, you pick it up for, you know,
pennies, literally.
Yeah, 22 cents. You give them a quarter, they give you pennies back. And this one is just beat to heck. So you're saying, oh, what kind of effect will that have on? And well, it will have an effect, right? Because it has dirt, it has oils. We've tried to clean it. It's been, you know, but it's going to have an effect on the outcome of it. So what we'll do mostly is we'll pay attention to the back, because that's actually where it's cleanest and newest and has the least amount of stains, wear and tear, sun, you know, fading and stuff like that. But nonetheless, we'll look at the whole thing because it gives us a case study. So again, we've brought we've got a recipe of water here. We've got the temperature on a hot plate. We're doing this all nice and safe, as I have been held in prison in the Bravo Company arms room, and Les won't let me escape. So, having said all that, let's put this into the vat. We will agitate it appropriately, and let's see what happens over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? See you soon. All right, so I keep saying, you know, be cautious of brown. I want to demonstrate that now. We have dyed one of the UCP ammo pouches in our standard dye, which is, our recipe is 4 parts Kelly green, 2 parts sunshine orange, 1 part dark green. And of course, the natural question for those who've mixed paints before is, why didn't you use a brown to get to the olive drab? Well, okay, so let's do that. We're going to take another used, beat the heck up UCP magazine pouch, and I'm going to show you why. So here actually, let me do a favor. I'm going to throw this away here. I forgot to shake this. Let me shake this. Always want to shake your dies. Shake, shake, shake. Give me a sec. Yeah, so my theory is simply this, and it's a theory because I'm not a chemist. My theory is there's some kind of chemical that they're using in here, and I suspect it's like an oily sort of thing, but I don't know that that's true. That they're using some kind of oil in this that just dominates or penetrates deeper or whatever it is. But I'm going to use one of these inside of there. So now it just became 8 total parts, right? 4 parts Kelly green. Ouch, that's hot. 2 parts sunshine orange, 1 part dark green, and 1 part brown. 1 tiny part brown out of 8 parts. Let's stir that up and then put in our next ammo pouch. All right, and actually, this isn't horrible. I've got it here. We know that because somebody marked with a ink pen, you know, like a Sharpie, H on it. Don't know what that means, but that's okay. So,
means FOBBITFLAGE is horrible. That's what it means.
Okay, there you go. FOBBITFLAGE is horrible. So I'm going to show you once again. This one's very, very similar. It looks better on the back where it got the least amount of sunlight, dirt, and abuse and oils, even though it is a mag pouch. And it looks pretty rough on the outside. But nonetheless, with brown stirred into here, and it's only 1/8 brown, so, and 4/8 very light green. Let's see how this comes out. I don't want to categorically say, ooh, this is bad and this is wrong.
It can only get better.
Yeah. What I want to show you is the difference when you're using brown, how it dominates this. And that's, again, it's not necessarily bad. Let me go ahead and tell you that last month I attended, for the first time ever, the Winter Forge out there with S&S Training Solutions in Missouri. And I attended that, and Cole Salmons, one of the two owners, he took a bunch of UCP Gore-Tex and he dyed it. He dyed some in an OD and he dyed one in brown, and it looked hideous. This thing is ugly as you can possibly imagine. It just looks dingy, dirty. It looks like a mechanic used it or some farmer used it for 8 years. It's just nasty. It was categorically the best camouflage out there in the winter. And I mean this is true during the first 4 days before we had snow, or first several days before we had snow, and then the several days of the FTX where we had 4 or 5 inches on the ground. We're down there at 11 degrees Fahrenheit. But the point being that I could not believe how incredibly effective in mid-Missouri in the winter, snow or no snow, how incredibly effective brown dyed UCP was. You won't go wrong for excellent camouflage. It just looks hideous, all right? So I'm not saying brown bad. That's not my point. My point is that brown dyes overwhelm everything else. So let's see if that's true. I'll be back to show you the results. All right, so here we are. We've dyed several different sets that I want to share with you. On the lower, for reference, right here, lower part of your screen, we have a UCP dyed combat vest. I'm sorry, what's it called again?
Flick.
Thank you, Flick. And this was done last year using the recipe that I said without the brown. Our standard 4-part Kelly, 2-part Sunshine Orange, 1 part dark green. So this was done a year ago and it's fully dry. You can clearly see that these are much darker, and that's because they're not dry yet. So the one we started with was the exact same recipe, and we started with a beat up piece of gear. It was a UCP, or is a UCP ammo pouch, and you can see on the back where I said it gets, so this is really old and beat up, but you can see back here where I said, yeah, it's still rather light because this was more true to the original materials. But you can also see in the webbing that it's gone. It's no longer that foliage look. It's definitely an OD green, right? And so this will dry the same as this. I'll put that there. But I want to do a side-by-side. Before I jump to the side-by-side, I want to also say it changes from your, so this is a DCU. It's the exact same material. These were done together, but it's starting from a different base. As you can see, it's a tans and very light tans and a few browns thrown in. And you can see that it also took. Now this was in new condition, right? So it also took, but it didn't get as dark. When it dries, it'll be lighter than this probably. We'll have to follow up there, but maybe not. Might stay to the same. Still just wanted to kind of, as a comparison, a pistol magazine in DCU compared to a rifle magazine in UCP. Let me set this to the side now. Now, the other thing is I took a brown, and we did another rifle magazine pouch, beat up, beat to heck. You might recall that I said there's a Sharpie H there, and you can still see that. And we put in 1 part brown, making the brown 1/8 of the total mixture, right? Because it was same exact recipe, just with a 1 cap of brown. And in the past, I've had very negative experiences with brown. I'm here to tell you, I am very impressed with this. I don't want to go so far as saying, oh, I was wrong, but I've never worked with UCP before in this recipe. And look what it did. It actually gives us a more military, less cheery, less, vibrant color, and more of a drab, which is what you would expect a brown to do when added to that recipe. But then I did that same thing, expecting to, quote unquote, destroy this by making it way too brown, and instead came out with one of the best OD green U.S. military OD greens I've seen so far. And so I'm not exactly sure what to tell you here, except that this is a slightly different material, and it's certainly not a polymer, and that the brown here seems to have done the trick. How close? Well, let me show you this. Remember in our firearms I said what we're often trying to do is get to this kind of color of green. But we dyed a, what's the name of this?
OZ9 grip module.
Thank you, an OZ grip module, and you can see we get to this cheery, look at that. It's almost the same. If you can see the hue, I know it's got a little shine because of the lighting, but it's almost exactly the same. It is certainly lighter and not the same color here. And so we said the way to get to this is to include more dark green, right? This is our standard 4 parts Kelly, 2 parts sunshine orange, 1 part dark green. Well, adding more dark green will get you closer to here. Here's my proof. Okay, this is a Magpul bipod that came in flat dark earth. We got these, I don't know, 3 years ago, dyed them ourselves, and look, by adding more dark green, we came out almost perfectly here, all right? We just did 1 more cap of dark green, so that it was 4 parts Kelly, 2 parts orange, 2 parts dark green, and we came out very, very close, whereas this time, not so much. Now, none of this is bad, because I like this better, Les seems to like this better, so maybe this is actually something that's less desirable for you if you have the same taste as Les and I, because we find that in the forest and in the woods, this actually is better camouflage, besides which it just kind of looks better. And so again, we have to wait till this dries and lightens up and looks like this. But if you really want to go with a USGI and start with the UCP and go with a USGI level of OD green, this looks very, very promising. Okay? All right. That's what we have for you. Thanks.